This is basically an overall review of, well, not a review, we'll call it a recap of 2008. Feels like yesterday was 2007. Feels like yesterday we were doing all the crazy things that we were in 2007. Feuds, freaking talking about wrestling topics, especially 2007 was hectic for the YouTube community and the wrestling community in general. And I had said in the end of the year, let's try and make 2008 just as good, if not better. Well, 2008, we didn't live up to as far as um, the entertainment value per se, because not many of us are making as much videos as we were in 2007. But at the same time, we can look at it this way: the wrestling has surely gotten better. I mean, WWE did not have a perfect year this year, but they had a good year. They started off real well by bringing in John Cena. John Cena's back, and the fact that John Cena was the biggest surprise, not just in that month in January, but the whole year. I think he was basically what you could tell that when he came back, he really improved things, and things just got so much more interesting when he came back. I mean, Royal Rumble was, people could agree, was a good pay-per-view. I didn't see No Way Out, but most people have said it was a great pay-per-view. WrestleMania 24, nobody can fucking doubt that was a great pay-per-view. I don't think anybody could sit here and say that that was a terrible pay-per-view. And Backlash was a great pay-per-view. They started to bring up some great pay-per-views. They were really on a roll. And they've got some new character developments, like Chris Jericho going through this new character about not being the comical, outgoing, smartass that he usually was. Now he's more serious, more demented than he once was. I mean, what can you do? You've got the debut of Ted DiBiase Jr. You've got the revamping of Carlito by teaming him up with his brother, Primo. So you could say that was good. You could say TNA has been crap. This was the year I just stopped watching TNA. I ne- I just don't really see the need in watching it if every time I voice my opinion on it, people are either going to say I'm biased or TNA's not even going to even give a damn to listen. It's one thing if they listen and then they just blow you off, but they don't even listen. So what does that tell you? And a company that needs our help. So TNA's been ROH has started to go on a stale road, as many people would say. Gabe Sapolsky, basically, to many people's opinions that I've talked to, has just lost it as far as ideas. But we could go off and say that as far as the mainstream is concerned, wrestling has been decent, much like 2007. And as far as the YouTube community, the big change between 2007 and 2008 is that there wasn't many feuds. Most people were more into, we want to go on a more serious road, not feud with each other, not go after each other. I mean, it's not like there were no feuds. You could look at Spinnernet and Jared Moral Virus. You can look at MB Russell 87 Master Boo Boo. You can look at me and the Rob currently, Rob and Yeesus. You can look at all that, and we still have some feuds. It's just that now it's been a little bit more mellow than it was beforehand. Because 2007, the minute you called someone a shit-faced cockmaster, someone would come out and they would defend themselves on it. The death toll this year, as far as wrestling goes, if you want to say, hasn't been as bad as 2007. This year, I'm probably forgetting somebody, but I know the main one that I could recall that had passed on was Gary Hart. Recently, we had a IWA Mid-South wrestler, Roland Hard, pass away from colon cancer, which, whenever a wrestler dies, doesn't matter if they're indie, if they're mainstream, it's never a good thing to see a wrestler die, because either A, they were at the prime of their career, or they had established themselves, or they were going to establish themselves. It's like with 2007, where most of these deaths were just coming out of nowhere. If you remember, that year alone, 2007 alone, as far as wrestling goes, you had Bam Bam Bigelow pass away, you had Mike Awesome, you had Arnold Skaaland, you had Ernie Ladd, you had Bad News Brown, really filled up a hand, Sherry Martel, Chris Benoit, who really affected us the most, Nancy Benoit, again, affected us the most, uh, Kurt, no, Crush, Fabulous Moolah. I'm forgetting somebody. I know that. Oh, fuck. Forgetting somebody. I always count up to like 11 or 12. Beef Wellington or Biff Wellington, if you remember WCW at all. Um, but pretty much, 2007 was just a whole shitload of deaths, and most of us were like, I mean, they haven't. The old saying was, we knew someone was going to die. Jim Cornette said the best about the Von Erichs. He said, it turned from when is it going to happen to how much can happen. That's how 2007 was as far as deaths. This year, at least, it was a little bit more again, a little bit more mellow, a little bit more calmer than 2007. 2007 was just hectic in deaths. Um, you got to realize, if you're a new wrestling fan or if you just don't get, the Chris Benoit effect really affected us all as far as wrestling fans. It really, if you don't think that gave a good blow to the wrestling business, you're crazy. You're crazy because it did a lot to damage it, not just by the look of the business, but by how we lost somebody who we cherished, by us fans who were once fans of this guy, who now have realized that he could be possibly a murderer. It really affected us all. And now, as far as now goes, since now we're heading to the end of 2008, going on to 2009, eventually we're going to hit the second year anniversary of the Chris Benoit tragedy. And at this point, it's whether you still support the guy or not. If you don't, that's on you. But as far as I go, I will always remember Chris Benoit as the guy that I always looked up to, who I wanted to be, who I wanted to emulate. But now that you think about it, when I read Ring of Hell, I've officially read the book, you could tell from that. But now I'm just totally going off on a tangent, but I could go over the 10-minute mark, so it don't matter. 2008, again, that was a big blow, but that was 2007. You got to understand, 2007 was a crazy year. If you were not around for that year, you missed out on a whole lot, whether you were part of the drama or not. As far as 2008 goes, it was a good year as far as wrestling is concerned. Some of it was you could swallow, but of course some of it you'd want to just vomit the fuck out. TNA being a big example. Many people don't think TNA is that good right now, and it hasn't been for a while now. Just recently, they gave the bad pay-per-view of Turning Point. Again, I did not see it. I did not waste my money. If I ever do see another TNA pay-per-view, I will not fork over any money. Whether I go to a friend's house and watch it or stream, whatever, I am not going to waste my money on it. Because I've done it way too many times. The last pay-per-view I wasted was Lockdown of this year. I think it was Lockdown. Was it Lockdown or Victory Road? No, Victory Road I saw at a friend's house. Never mind. Victory Road was the last pay-per-view I had ever seen from TNA this year, or ever actually. That was the last pay-per-view. So overall, we can look at 2008, and we have some memories that we left behind, like WrestleMania 24. We can look at WrestleMania 24. Look at Ric Flair's retirement. Ric Flair's retirement was, beyond a shadow of a doubt, a great moment. And in fact, the only thing that topped off the end of the Ric Flair Shawn Michaels match was the next night, which in my opinion was not just the best Raw of that year, probably my favorite Raw of all time. The Just that last 20 minutes was phenomenal, just to see Ric Flair and his past come out, giving him a good hug, everybody giving him the respect that he deserves. that's 2008 for me. We can look at 2008 and we can see where we have gone from there. 2008 left a good mark. Did it leave some bad marks? Yes, but no year is going to be perfect. It's inevitable. But this year we can look at WWE and say, wow, they didn't really suck that much as they did back in 2006, if you will. 2006 was a fucking god awful year, but we're as I'm recording this, it's 11:51 a.m. or p.m. excuse me. Ugh. It is heading to December 31st, the last day of 2008. It's just shocking how things just fly by just like that. It really is. Um, so many things have happened throughout my time here on YouTube that there's countless moments, whether it be the feuds, whether it be the videos, whether it be all that. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have those videos anymore, but the fact of the matter is, we still have the memories. We can always look back. I'll always look. I'll always look back on some of the moments that I had in 2008. There were some good moments. There were some shitty moments. But hey, what do you know? We're heading into 2009. We're heading into a new year. We are heading into the Royal Rumble. Everyone's been asking me who do I think will win or should win. Now, if I could make a video on that, like I did last year, where I expanded like a 30-minute video on who should have won, and of course, none of them won, and I've got a call coming, but point blank, let's make 2009 an enjoyable year. Let's hope 2009's great. If I get anything to add, you'll see later on. I gotta go. Later.